Mr. Siminya.
Chair and Commissioners, good morning. Today we have Advocate Jiba to give us her evidence, and that will be done through my learned colleague who might want to place himself on record.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chairperson.
Yes, please place your name on record.
William Mukari.
Mukari.
Mukari is spelled somehow strangely and wrongly, but it remains the official one, Mokhare. But it's the official one, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Mukari, are you ready to lead your witness?
I'm ready, Chairperson.
Yes. Good morning, Ms. Jiba. How are you?
Jiba.
Jiba.
Jiba, J-I-B-A.
J-I-B. Good morning, Ms. Jiba. How are you?
Good morning, Chair. I'm well. Thank you very much.
Yes. Are you going to take an oath or affirmation, ma'am?
I'll take an oath.
Do you swear that the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Mr. Mukari, your witness.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, Ms. Jiba.
Morning, SC.
Before I start, Chairperson, we prepared a bundle of the documents that the witness will speak to where necessary, and we emailed the bundle to the Secretary of the Commission. I don't know if copies were made for the panel, but we've ensured that it is indexed and paginated in order to allow an easy flow of the evidence of Ms. Jiba.
Yes, we have the bundle.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jiba, do you also have the same bundle in front of you?
Yes, Chair.
If you go to page 8 of that bundle,
I'm on it.
you'll see that is a statement that you have made under oath. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair.
And when you look at the last page of it at page 15, not page 15, but page 13,
Yes.
it has your signature there at the bottom, am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
And you, before coming here, refreshed yourself by reading this statement again, am I correct?
Yes, I did.
And you confirm that it is indeed your statement.
Yes, it is.
And you confirm the correctness of either thereof.
I do.
Thank you. I will be leading you in relation to the statement, but not necessarily for you to read out the statement because it is already before the Commission. What I would like you to do is to expand for the benefit of the Commission where it is necessary.
I'll do so.
But let us start from the beginning. If you can tell us briefly your history in terms of where were you born, when, and where you went to school.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I was born in the Eastern Cape from a province that is now known as Gqeberha, Port Elizabeth. I studied, though, in the former Transkei and matriculated at a school that was called Bantingville Secondary School, or Ndamase Secondary School, in 1984. Then I did my BUris and LLB at the University of Transkei. That's what it was called then, but now it's called Walter Sisulu University. Then in 1996, I obtained my master's in commercial law at the University of Cape Town. That's my schooling.
Yes, no, thank you very much. In paragraph 3 of your statement at page 8, you dwell on your employment history. Do you want to elaborate on it?
My career in prosecution started in 1988 from the Magistrates Court in the former Transkei and former Ciskei. I was stationed at Pedi in the early years, and then East London, Danzane, then I moved to Tsolo and then Mthatha. Thereafter, in 1998 and 99, I went and served articles at Qunda Nzebeza Attorneys, that was in Cape Town, and then was appointed as a senior state advocate in 1999, 2000, in the Office for Serious Economic Offences. Then in 2001, I was promoted as a Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions in what was called the Investigative Directorate, Serious Economic Offences, which then later merged with what was called IDOC, Investigative Directorate Organized Crime Unit, and that then established the Scorpions. Then I was thereafter promoted in 2010 as a Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions. And then in 2011, when Advocate Smelane was placed on special leave, then I was appointed by the former President Zuma to act as the National Director of Public Prosecutions. I acted in that position up until sometime in August 2013, when Mr. Ngasana was then appointed permanently as a National Director of Public Prosecutions. Yes.
Okay, thank you. You have been invited by this commission,
Yes.
in terms of its rules, specifically 3.3, to come and provide assistance to it in respect of matters that fall within your knowledge and which fall within its mandate to investigate. You confirm that you did receive that invitation, am I correct?
Yes, I did.
What did you understand from the invitation of what you have been required?
The rule, the notice in terms of 3.3 essentially advised me that I have been implicated in this, insofar as the CRADOC 4 docket is concerned. And that emanates from the review application that was filed by Mr. Kalata and other families in the High Court. And so there was a statement which was then attached in that application that was made by what was submitted in the High Court in the review application, and the statement was filed by one of my colleagues, former colleagues, Advocate Chris McAdam.
Yes. So, Rule 3.3, of course, it becomes relevant when one or more persons, or maybe from the documents, your name appears as a person who may have been implicated.
Yes.
So in this case, you say that the affidavit that was deposed to in the High Court in the review application by Mr. Adams flagged you in that regard.
Yes.
Can you look at that affidavit It is in your bundle at page 20.
Page 20. I am there.
Did you have an opportunity to read this affidavit?
Yes, I did.
In what way did you understand in this affidavit Mr. Adams to be implicating you?
You see, Chair, Mr. McAdam does not really say that I requested the docket, but it's just that he makes a relationship between my having sought clarity through the memorandum or a letter that was written by Ms. Lipinga, who was the executive manager support in that time in the office of the NDPP. So he puts then, on a reading of the affidavit, he makes a relationship in the sense that he says, I don't know if you can allow me to read the paragraph where he speaks about the memorandum itself, but in a nutshell, he's saying that after some time, or at a certain stage.
Yes, Mr. Mkari, Ms. Jiba, it would be helpful if you can just zoom in on a paragraph or paragraphs so that we should be with you.
Yeah, so if you can just, because my question was in what way or in what respect has Mr. Adams in the affidavit that was filed in the High Court implicate you?
Okay.
And if you can then maybe refer the commission specifically to that paragraph. It's quite a short affidavit,
Okay.
and you'll see that he deals with the aspect about the disappearance of the docket of the credit 4 in paragraph 2 and proceed to elaborate on in paragraph 3. If you can maybe read paragraph 2, 3, and 4, and then you make a comment of your understanding of that which you say constituted an implication.
Thank you, Chair. At paragraph 2, he says that, I quote, I have been requested to make a statement regarding the disappearance of the CRADOC 4 police docket, which is a Truth and Reconciliation Commission case, from the offices of the National Prosecuting Authority. Then at paragraph 3, in 2013, I was a deputy director in the PCLU. Advocate Abrams was then acting as the head of the unit. Advocate Jiba was acting as the NDPP. Ms. Lipinga was acting as the acting NDPP's manager. Paragraph 4, on 28th April 2013, Ms. Lipinga wrote to Advocate Abrams asking for information relating to the case. On 22nd May 2013, Advocate Abrams replied to him. Then if you go to paragraph 5, it says, there was no reply from the acting NDPP in response to Advocate Abrams. At a certain stage, however, I was requested to hand over the docket as it had been called for by the office of the acting NDPP. I complied with the request. At this moment in time, I cannot recall who made the request. So to answer your question, Chair,
Yes.
If you read then paragraph 4 and from paragraph 3 up to paragraph 5, then you can see that the affidavit, what Advocate Chris McAdam does, he is linking that I had requested certain information to the docket that apparently went missing. So he's making an innuendo that the docket was lost because I had requested it, because it says the Office of the Acting National Director of Public Prosecutions, although he doesn't call me by my name specifically. So that is how I think he then implicates me.
So if you look at the paragraphs that you have read, one, he does not mention you by name.
Yes,
Two, he does not say who came to collect the docket.
he doesn't say that.
So then your conclusion is based on inference that he may have been referring to your office because you were the acting NDPP at the time.
I was the acting NDPP at the time, but I do recall that Dr. Ramayide at some stage also acted as NDPP at that time. So, but I was also the acting NDPP at the time.
Yes. So now you have an opportunity to be in this commission to assist it and clarify matters in respect of this particular issue. Am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
Now, I would like you to enlighten this commission, because these paragraphs you have read from McAdam's statement is focused mostly at the time when you were the acting NDPP. Do you also understand it that way?
Yes, Chair.
Now, I'd like you to focus on the time when you were appointed as acting NDPP to enlighten the commission first in respect of what precisely are the duties of an NDPP, because you did have the benefit of occupying that office, in order for the commission to understand the scope of the responsibilities of that office.
Thank you, Chair. The NDPP is the head of the NPA, and he has overall responsibilities in the functioning and performance of the NPA to provide its strategic direction and to ensure that the NPA delivers in its mandate. That is, of course, contained in Section 179 of the Constitution to institute prosecutions in any matters that are incidental to the institution of prosecutions. But the NPA is a huge institution. The NDPP cannot do these functions on his own or her own. To assist the NDPP in delivering and performing these functions, we had a structure in the NPA that had 4 deputy national directors of public prosecutions. I'm going to speak about my time because the structure changes depending on the on the NDPP. I mean, the functions of the deputy national directors change. So in my time, when I took over, I had 4 deputy national director of public prosecutions.
And your time, if you look at paragraph 3, is from the 20th December 2011 until the 30th of August 2013. Would that be correct?
It would be correct, Chair, but I'm not so sure in August. That's why I said that I just recall that I acted for a period of 20 months. I'm not so sure when actually did Mr. Ngasana take over, but it's definitely in August. Ended
Yes.
in August.
But if
Around
I-
that time, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Chair.
But if we're talking in terms of years, it will be
Yes.
2011 to 2013.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Should I proceed? Okay. So in my time, I had 4 deputy national directors of public prosecutions. So there was a Mr. Willie Hofmeyer. Willie was in charge of the asset forfeiture unit. And then we had Dr. Silas Ramayite. Dr. Silas Ramayite was in charge of the PCLU, which is the Priority Crime Litigation Unit. And then he was also in charge of the Sexual Offences Unit. And then he was also in charge of the Special Commercial Crimes Unit. Then there was also Advocate Mukhatla. Advocate Mukhatla was in charge of our Civil Litigation Unit. We called it Legal Affairs Division. And then, because I was acting as a National Director of Public Prosecution, there had to be someone who's also acting in my position as a Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions, and that was Advocate Tokoma Jokweni. Then she was in charge of all the DPPs in the provinces where the prosecutions are actually instituted. So the NDPP then does and performs his functions through these 4 national directors, deputy national directors, who then are actually responsible for the operations of the business, of the various business units, as I have indicated. Okay?
Yes.
So, the practice that I had was then to have what I termed as EXCO meetings. EXCO meetings is where I would sit in with the deputy national directors, and then there's the CEO. Although the NPA Act does not make provisions for a CEO, but then the DG has delegated those functions to Advocate Karen van Rensbeck. So I would have the meetings twice a month, just so that one can be kept abreast of what is actually happening in all the business units. Now, to come to the point, insofar as PCLU matters were concerned, Dr. Ramayite, as the person who's then in charge of the PCLU, would be the one who is providing us with whatever reports we require in terms of what is happening in the units. But further than that, PCLU, when I got in there was a file, I think there was a file where that contained memorandums that would then come from PCLU, that would then give an indication of the status of the TRC matters. So I do recall that with regard to this particular one, to the Cradock 4 and others of Nokutula Simelane and many others. So you would get a memo that will tell you that in this particular one, this is what is happening, in this particular one, this is what is happening, and all of that. So what then happened, what I do recall about this, what then happened is that I must have received one of those memorandums. And then I instructed my Ms. Lepinga to write to the PCLU and seek certain clarity issues that were not probably clear from the memorandum. Unfortunately, I have requested that memorandum from the NPA. I have gone to the NPA to seek the memorandum. I was told that it cannot be found because it would enable the commission to see why did I actually just instruct Ms. Lepinga to write the letter to the PCLU. If I can direct through you, Chair, the letter that Ms. Lepinga wrote,
Is the one at page 14?
page 14. Let me just check.
And whilst you're going to that letter, so that we are on the same page in terms of the units that you have mentioned,
Yes.
which unit was responsible for the processing of TRC matters?
That was the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit.
Is the one that is abbreviated as PCLU,
Yes, Chair.
the one that was headed by Dr. Ramait?
Yes, from the perspective of Deputy National Directors of Public Prosecutions, but the unit itself, the actual head, the immediate head, was at that time Advocate Sean Abrams.
Oh, I
at that
see.
time, yes.
And what was the role of Mr. McAdams? Was he in the PCLU or somewhere else?
He was in the PCLU as well, yeah. He was in the PCLU, yeah, he was in the PCLU.
Okay, all right, that's fine, it's clarified. So are you at page 14?
Yes, Chair, I'm at page 14.
Yes, is that the letter you're referring to?
That's the letter I'm referring to, yes.
Yes, so what is the context of this letter so that we can understand?
The letter merely requested clarity issues from, I think it must have been referring to the memo that was written by PCLU to Advocate Mahlati.
Yes.
Advocate Mahlati.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. I think let us do this. This is a letter by Ms. J. Lipinka, Manager, Executive Support
Yes.
to the NDPP,
Yes.
to Advocate X. Abrahams,
Yes.
Acting Special Director, PCLU. And it is dated the 26th of April 2013. The subject is Craddock for matter. Would that be correct?
Yes, Chair, that is correct.
Yes. Okay, you can proceed from
Yes.
there.
Thank you, Chair.
I was still saying, Chair, the letter, as it can be seen in paragraph 1, it refers to a memo. It then says, in your memo that you wrote to Advocate Mahlati, in paragraph 9, you state that after accused received amnesty for the death of Goniwe, then the question says, who are those accused persons? Please specify their names. So all I'm trying to show is that this was in response to a memo that must have been submitted to the office of the acting NDPP, to my office at the time. And I must have been seeking some clarity on the basis of the memo which is sub. I don't know if the commission would want me to read the memo into the record, I mean the letter into the record.
The memo that you say that this letter may or must have emanated or triggered by it is the one that you say you requested from the NPA,
Yes.
but you were never provided with it.
Yes, Chair, I requested many memorandums from the NPA, not just that one, because I am certain that there are many memos that were submitted to me. It would not have been only one memorandum.
And what was the response of the NPA to your request?
They couldn't find them.
But what were they saying? They couldn't find it. They couldn't find them because they don't exist, or they could not find them because they are lost. They couldn't find them because they're destroyed. What exactly were they saying?
The gentleman I spoke with, Mr. Mzekaifani, said he can't find any memorandums. And I asked him, but where are they? And he says he doesn't know.
Okay, no, thank you. So you wanted then to read the letter, the remaining paragraphs, and you'll then comment on that. You can proceed.
Okay. Number 2 read, paragraph 11, who are the 6 former members of the Port Elizabeth Security Branch who applied for amnesty? Then number 3, who of those implicated in the murder of the deceased still alive? And 4A read, with regard to the affidavit made by the polygraphy expert in crime intelligence, did the investigation establish why he made the allegation that he made against General Hanker? And B read, who is the polygraphy expert? Can his affidavit be attached to your memorandum? And then lastly, it said, in light of the above, you are requested to submit a memo addressing all aspects as contained herein above.
Yes, and as you say, this letter was addressed to the head of the unit at the time, which was Advocate Sean Abrams. Was there a response to this request?
Yes, Chair, there was a response.
Yes, if you turn to page 16, there is a letter there dated 22 May 2013. The subject still is CREDOC 4 matter,
Yes, Chair.
and it is addressed to yourself in your capacity as acting National Director of Public Prosecutions, and Dr. Ramaite is copied,
Yes.
as well as Mr. Advocate Mark Adams is also copied,
Yes, Chair.
and it is from Advocate Sean Abrams.
Yes, Chair.
So was this a response to that previous letter you've read?
Yes, it was the response.
Yes, and the context of the response, then if you want to just look at, it's a bit of a detailed response, but in substance then, what did Advocate Sean Abrams communicated to you in response thereto?
In essence, Chair, the memorandum addressed the issues that I needed clarity on. For example, if you go to paragraph 2.2,
Yes,
it deals with the identities of the persons who received amnesty for the death of Mr. Koniwe. And that is what I had asked. That's one of the issues that I had also asked. And paragraph 2.3 deals with the details of the former security branch members who applied for amnesty in respect of the murder of Mr. Koniwe and his associates. So the memorandum, the response actually did address the issues that I have raised. And that is where I left it, because as an NDPP, I was not there to direct what should be done by the acting special director. Dr. Silas Ramayete was there to do so. So that is where I left it, because then I was satisfied with the responses that I had received from Advocate Sean Abrams.
yes. But when you look at page 19.1, in 2018, there was some communication. If you can put context to that communication, or whether it was also in relation to TRC matters. But at that time, as I understand, you are no longer the acting National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Yes, I was no longer the acting national director at that time.
Then can you bring context to
Yes.
the communication that we see at page 19.1, because it is dated 22 October 2018.
Okay. When I think Mr. Ngasana had already left also at that time in 2018, and Advocate Sean Abrams was now the NDPP. I think so, if I'm not mistaken, yes. I think Sean had already, Mr. Ngasana had already left at that time. So then I went back to my position as a Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Yes, can I just inquire from you if you can help? The author of this letter is Fanani Malova.
The email.
Who is he or she, and what is the PG? If you can go back to 19.1.
In order to put context so that
Yes, I'm trying.
then we know first the author of the email, to who, and then from there you can deal with it, the date of it, for the benefit of the record as well.
Okay.
Whilst then we who are sitting here are having the benefit of reading actually the letter itself, but other people don't have it.
Okay, Ms. Fanani Malova was my personal assistant.
Oh, okay.
She
yes.
worked directly under me. Yes.
She was a personal assistant,
Yes, Chair.
as
She was,
the letter indicates.
yes, Chair. She was my personal assistant.
Yes.
So she's addressing this email of 22 October 2018
Yes.
to Tory Pretorius, and then tell us who at the time was Tory Pretorius and what was his position,
Okay.
so that we can understand why he deserved to receive a communication of this type.
Okay. Advocate Tory Pretorius was now the acting special director for the PCLU at that time, with the appointment of Advocate Sean Abrams as an NDPP. Then Tory became the acting special director for PCLU.
Yes, and you're copied in it, and
Yes.
was there any particular reason why you copied in it?
Usually when they write to senior members so that it can be clear that it's something that comes from me, then I had to be copied on the correspondence. Yes.
Yes, and Trish Maske is also copied, and who was Trish Maske?
Trish Maske was a senior deputy director of public prosecutions in the National Prosecuting Service. That was in my office.
Yes,
Yes.
and then Jackie Lipinka also copied, and I think in
Yes.
between 2011 and 2013, Jackie then was the manager in your office.
This was an executive manager support in the office.
Yes. And so now then it is addressed to Dr. Pretorius, and can you read the content, because it's very brief, and then from there then you give us your comment.
Okay. By directions of Advocate Jiba, following the National Operations Management meeting last week, which you unfortunately could not attend, understandably so, a decision was taken that you should forward a list of cases, matters together with the cases themselves emanating from the TRC to my office in order to see and evaluate which matters. I think this thing is cut, so I don't know if I can get.
Should be referred.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, should be referred to the DPP offices. The delay in dealing with these matters was highlighted as something which is unacceptable, seeing that there's a S,
Yes, as then continue.
are getting old, witnesses also getting old, which might result in victims not getting justice at all. The target date for the evaluation of these matters is 14 November 2018. Advocate Jiba have already requested advocate, I think Trish Maske,
yes.
and her team to run with the process. It is therefore requested that this be submitted by Wednesday, 24 October 2018 latest. You can delegate any of your, I think, prosecutors to collate the dockets.
Yes. So I will to assist the commission with the context and the import of this email.
Okay. During this time, as I was saying, I was now back as a Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions. I was therefore in charge of the directors of public prosecutions in the divisions. So what we then used to do, we used to have operational meetings. I refer to them at paragraph 16. In order to manage and monitor prosecution, that is now at page 12. In order to manage and monitor prosecutions, I would have bi-monthly operational meetings with the directors of public prosecutions from all the divisions to discuss performance, challenges, and agree on strategies that should be put in place in order to address bottlenecks which hampered performance and successful prosecution of cases where there is a need to. We call these meetings the National Operational Management Meetings, abbreviated as NOM. Now, because of the depth in which a performance was discussed, because it drilled down to the lowest court in the land that you can find, and because of the successes attributable to NOM, the NDPP at the time, Advocate Sean Abrams, decided that PCLU and the Special Commercial Crimes Unit must also fall under the NPS, so that we can be able to assist where we can and be able to address any bottlenecks and also be able to just to interrogate the way in which they were dealing with the matters. So in one of the I made a mistake. I said NEEC meeting, it should read NOM, not NEEC.
Yes.
So in one of the NOM meetings, that is after the inclusion of the PCLU, I think a presentation
What
was...
does no mean, Ms. Jiba?
NOM? NOM means National Operational Management Meetings.
Yes, I think it's in full, in paragraph 16, it is written in full, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, proceed.
Okay, all right. So, I'm saying that in one of the NOM meetings after the PCLU and the SCCU now fell under my supervision, like the DPP, the DPPs. So after the presentation was made, we were all of the view that there is no progress in these TRC matters. And on an interrogation of why there was no progress, and I think there were many things that we were told. Can't remember whether Chris McAdam was in one of those meetings, because I don't have the minutes with me now. But what I do recall is that as a result of the presentation that they have made, and because of lack of progress, we then took a decision with the DPPs that were in the meeting that the best thing is that let us have an audit of all the TRC cases. And as such, I then directed my PA, which is now Ms. Malova, to write to Dr. Dori Pretorius and request the list of all of these cases and also a summary of evidence contained in the dockets and the dockets themselves, So that was the first time where I requested the dockets. So if I wanted to request the dockets, even then I could have said the memorandum must include the docket. So here I said that they must also submit the dockets. And all of that information was to be submitted to Advocate Trish Matske, who was then the Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions in my office at that time.
Yes.
So that is the context in which that email was then sent to Dr. Pretorius. And every time we have a norm meeting, we will then go and brief the NDPP.
Yes.
And so Advocate Abrahams was also appraised of this. Yes.
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 And you've dealt with that in paragraph 18 of your statement.
Yes.
Yes. Now, let's go back to the allegation that was made by Mr. McAdams, although of course didn't mention you and didn't enlighten us, not us at this stage, I mean, and the court at the time, because the affidavit was filed in the High Court in the review application as to who came to ask for the docket, and also does not enlighten us, that affidavit, as to when that happened. But because we are here to assist the commission, are you able to tell this commission the procedure that was in place at the time when you were the acting NDPP? And then, of course, we'll use the example of this CREDOC 4 docket. If such a request was made or were to be made, what procedure was supposed to have been followed so that one is able to track, even if you are no longer there yourself, is a new person and wants to see the CREDOC 4 docket? And how is that person going to know that this docket is no longer in Office A, is now in Office F, for example? Can you just enlighten the commission about that?
Yes.
Because the affidavit of McAdams doesn't really help anybody on that aspect.
Yes, just the affidavit of McAdam, I don't think we've spoken about the date when it was supposed to. I think it seems to be the 26th of May 2021. Would that be correct?
The what? I didn't get that.
Are you at page 20 of?
I'm at page 21. That's
21.
where I see the date, yes.
No, that is the deposition of the affidavit. We are talking about the period in time that McAdam would have been referring to. But for now, it is the question in relation to her having to tell us what procedure would be followed. The affidavit he deposed to it himself in May 2021 because he was deposing to it in a different context, which was a review application at the time.
Okay.
Yes. Can you answer the question?
Yes, I can. Okay. We had a very structured approach in how we dealt with the correspondence from office to office in the NPA. We gave colors to our book. We had books, we had notebooks. So the other one would have a red notebook, and the other one, it would be a yellow notebook, it would be a blue notebook, whatever color you liked. So if, for example, I'm receiving documents from the CEO's office, the PA to the from the CEO's office would come with her book, whether it was a red book or what, but mine was a yellow book. So she would come with her own book where she would have written documents that she is coming to bring to the office of the acting NDPP or to the office of the head of the NPS, whoever is bringing documents. So they will all be listed there. And then the PA in your office, that is now in my office, would then also take those and copy them to her own book, so both books will be signed, so that we know that on this particular day, these are the memorandums or documents that were received from the CEO's office, or these are documents that were received from Willie Hofmeyer's office or Silas or anybody else who's bringing documents there. So if, for example, coming back to, that was the method that we used the essay. So if, for example, there was someone who would have gone to take a docket. You know, dockets are very important. You don't just give a docket and you don't know who you are giving the docket to. Even in the police station, even the police, if you go in there, you go to the, I once worked for DSO, for example. Everything has got to be documented, in particular dockets, because dockets get lost. Like this one, that was unfortunately got misplaced. I don't know how it got lost. So if Chris McAdam had given anybody or anyone a docket, he would never just give a docket like this, like a blank thing, and say, here's the docket, because the docket must be signed for. So that is why, Chair, I am saying in my statement, and I'm saying angrily so, that I hate the fact that Chris McAdam comes here and attests and makes me a scapegoat. I was very sensitive to these particular cases, and I saw Vani today. I was very, very sensitive to these cases.
Yes, well, correction, of course, to what you've said in respect of Mr. McAdams. He didn't come here and said that you have taken the docket. So it's just the correction from the record, but we'll come there because I only referred you to the affidavit that was deposed in 2021.
Yes, sorry about that.
They're not the affidavit before this commission. So just that correction. So now for the avoidance of doubt, did you send anybody to collect the CREDOC 4 docket from the office of Mr. McAdams?
No. And I tell you why I say so.
Yes.
If I wanted the docket, as an acting NDPP, if I want something, I have a right to ask for it. I would have included that request in the letter that was written by Ms. Lippiek. The last paragraph there would have said, please attach the docket there too. But you can see the last paragraph does not even request the docket. It's just clarification from the issues that I wanted clarity on.
Yes.
So I've never asked for a docket.
Yes. And of course, you have said that in your statement, you responded quite upset to that allegation, and the paragraph of it is there.
Yes.
So then you are aware that that part of the affidavit of Mr. McAdams, of course, did not go unnoticed, because
Yes.
The one member of the CREDOC 4 family deposed to an affidavit before this commission,
Yes.
and which refers to the affidavit of Mr. McAdams. We have only taken the relevant excerpts of it, which is at page 129, page 22 of the pagination, if you can go there. But for the sake of completeness, then the affidavit is affidavit by Mr. Lucanio Bruce Matthews Galata.
Yes.
dated 17 January 2025. So the excerpt of it, of course, it appears at page 22, and it has a heading there, the missing CREDOC 4 docket. Do you see that?
Yes, Chair.
So can you read into the record paragraph 328 and 329 of his affidavit?
Paragraph 328, Mark Adam filed an affidavit dated 24 May 2021 as part of the NPA's Rule 53 record in the matter of Talata and others versus NDPP and others, case number 35447 of 2021, Gauteng Division, a copy of which is annexed here to marked FA 47, Mark Adams Rule 53 affidavit. In this affidavit, he indicated that during April 2013, while he was Deputy Director of the PCLU and Abrams was the acting head, they received a request for information about the CREDOC 4 case from a Ms. Lepinga, who was the personal assistant to acting NDPP, Advocate Nomgcobo Jiba. Abrahams responded to the request. Shortly thereafter, Mark Adam was asked to hand over the investigation docket Swartscope CR 13/07/1985 to the office of the acting NDPP, which he did. Paragraph 329, Mark Adam then avers that at a certain stage, without disclosing a date, that Advocate TP Pretorius SC, then acting head of the PCLU, asked him for the CREDOC 4 docket, and he advised Pretorius that, open quotes, it had been uplifted from our office, close quote, and was missing. Mark Adam did not disclose why Pretorius was seeking the docket. This exchange must have happened between 2016, when Mark Adam returned to his normal duties, after working on foreign bribery cases, and April 2019, when he assumed the position of acting head of PCLU.
Yes. So this is the affidavit which was filed with this commission, referring to the affidavit of Mark Adams, which was filed in the High Court, that your office asked for the CREDOC 4 docket, which you have already testified that that was not so. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, Mr. McAdams was given the opportunity as well to appear before this commission, and you have since come to know about that fact. Am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
And you are favored with his affidavit. Am I right?
Yes, Chair, I was.
So if you go to, still on the bundle, we did put his affidavit. You'll find it at page 24.
Yes, I'm there.
It's quite a lengthy affidavit, but
Yeah.
in order not to waste the commission's time, is it correct that you did have an opportunity to read his affidavit, this statement that he submitted to this commission?
I did, Chair, I did.
Did he, in this statement, repeat the same allegation that he made in the 2021 affidavit in the review application, that your office collected the docket from him?
No, he did not.
He did not. And it also came to, or you also came to know that Mr. McAdams was, in addition to him having made this statement under oath before this commission, had an opportunity to come and testify before this commission. You became aware of that fact, am I right?
Yes, I did.
And you also had the benefit of receiving the transcript of his evidence, viva voce evidence here, am I correct?
Yes, I did.
And that transcript, you'll find it at page 57.
Yes, I'm there.
And of course, without having to waste the commission's time, having to take you to say, look at each page of this transcript, can you confirm that you did at your time read this transcript of his evidence?
I did, because I was very interested in it. I read it.
And did he repeat that allegation that your office collected the credit for docket
No.
from his office?
No, it did not.
Yes. Now,
Mr. Mokari, at a convenient time, you will indicate when we've got to adjourn for tea.
may we adjourn now? And
Yes,
so
we
that I
will
can finish.
adjourn and reconvene at 11:20.
Thank you very much, James.
Yes, Mr. Mukari.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ms. Jiba. Can we continue? Just to wrap up.
Yes, Chair.
When your acting stint as the NDPP ended in 2013, you reverted back to your position as a deputy NDPP, am I correct?
Yes, Chair.
And you continued with your normal duties.
Yes, I continued with my normal duties as a Deputy National Director.
During that time, because it's not like you left the NPA, you're still within the leadership of the NPA. Did anybody ever came to you and said, Ms. Jiba, we're missing the credit for docket. Where is it? Because we hear that it was in your office.
No. And I was in the NPA. We were attending meetings together, for example, with Dr. Pretorius, who was then the acting head at the time. So no one ever came to me and said that there's a docket that is missing.
And you remained an employee of the NPA until when?
I remained an employee of the NPA. There was a stage whereby I was placed on a special leave by the president pending the inquiry into my fitness. Now, I can't remember when was that, but there was a stage where I was placed on special leave. Yeah.
Yes, but I want to know when you exited the NPA completely, no longer an employee of the NPA.
That was in 2019. 2019.
In 2019.
Yes.
So after you left the NPA, did anybody from the NPA ever approach you about the missing credit for docket?
No, no one ever approached me about any missing docket from the NPA.
When did you become aware that there is some talk that the credit for docket was taken from Mr. McAdams by your office?
When I got this notice, the notice,
The Rule 33 notice.
the Rule 33 notice,
So
yes.
that's now from the commission, from this
From
commission.
the commission, yes.
Yes.
That there is a docket that went missing from my office during my tenure, yes.
So the affidavit of 2021 deposed to by Mr. McAdams was never brought to your attention at that time, in 2021, when it was deposed to in the review application.
No, it was never brought to my attention at that time, except that at a certain point in time, what was happening? Advocate Ngalwana had received a brief from the NPA, and then suddenly I was then removed from the brief because he wanted to do the matter from me. He just told me that there was a conflict of interest. I never knew what was the conflict of interest about. I'm just stating because I don't know whether it was because of this docket or anything, but he was just informed that there was a conflict of interest.
So you can only speculate on that one.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, that's fine. Now, when you were, and this time then is because you have really most of your time you are occupying leadership position at the NPA,
Yes.
whether as deputy NDPP and for about 20 months as acting NDPP.
Yes.
Now, I want you to talk about political interference
Yes.
because it is one of the terms of reference of the commission,
Yes.
whether anybody or some people within the NPA or elsewhere received political pressure not to prosecute TRC matters. So now I want you to now tell the Commission from your own personal knowledge, both at the time when you had the benefit of occupying this prestigious position of acting as NDPP and as a deputy NDPP.
Yes.
Can you enlighten us on that? Was there any political interference and political pressure that was exerted on you in respect of the prosecution or the processing of the TRC matters so that they may one day be finalized and families get closure on them?
Okay. Well, during my time as the acting NDPP, you recall that I had said that I would have EXCO meetings with the Deputy National Directors of Public Prosecutions to just get a briefing on what is happening in the operations of the business units that they were in charge of. At no stage did Dr. Ramayide ever give me any report that they were having challenges of political interference from anywhere. Our minister at the time was very supportive. It was Minister Jeff Radebe. So at no stage did Dr. Ramayide say that they were having challenges of political interference, that they must not do these cases in the manner in which I have now read from Mr. Kalata's affidavit. Yes.
Were you yourself ever approached by anybody in power or influence to say that, no, you know, the TRC matters, then put them aside or whatever, or some kind of discouraging you as the head of the NPA, not to ensure that those cases are receiving priority?
At no stage that ever happened. Let me tell you this, HC, even if they had tried to me, they would fail dismally.
Why?
We take an oath to conduct prosecutions without fear, favor, and prejudice. Even if you are attacked by the media from all points, even if anybody says anything, if you know that the decision you are making, you have to die with your decision, just like I died with my decisions to prosecute the Katomano prosecutions. They would not have succeeded at all.
Yes. Now that you're here, then having the opportunity to assist the Commission, and of course you know that the families from the TRC cases are really reeling on this. You once had the opportunity to occupy this prestigious position. What do you have to say to them?
You know, I feel very sad for them because all of these families, all that they are seeking is closure, to know what actually happened to their loved ones. And I think that, you know, they are owed that particular respect. I saw someone today that I think I remember meeting in one of the meetings that I had. I don't know if I'm going to be pronouncing his name correctly, Mr. Vani. Yes, I met Mr. Vani once in the NPA, once or twice in the NPA. At that time, they were dealing with the case of one of Ms. Nokutula Simengane. There was a recommendation that I had came across that said that there must be a formal inquest into the death of Ms. Nokutula Simengane. And I disagreed with that because when I read the memorandums and the dockets, I couldn't understand why must there be a formal inquest, because your formal inquest, you hold it when you want to establish whether there can be someone who can be held responsible for the death of this particular person. And on my reading of the docket and the statements, and because witnesses were still alive and the suspects could still be identified, I then made a recommendation to Advocate Sean Abrams that there's no way that must recommend an inquest, a formal inquest, because it's going to be a waste of time. The prosecution must ensue, and this person must be looked at. And you know, I do know for certain that, although I'm not so sure at what stage is the case now, but the case was then enrolled before court, and prosecutors were appointed to deal with those cases.
I see. Finally, is there any other thing that you'd like to say to the commission which I may not have asked you about?
Yes, just to go back to the email, which is the email that was sent by Ms. Malova.
That's page 22. Page
It's
Page
page
18.
19.1.
19.1, yes, I beg
Yes.
your pardon.
After having written this email to Trish, as stated in my affidavit, paragraphs, just looking for my affidavit.
Paragraph
as-
18.
Paragraph 18. Okay, thank you so much. I was not able to see to the investigations and prosecutions of the cases. I know that the report that I had requested from this email was submitted to Advocate Trish Maske. And that report might be very, very helpful to the commission to see exactly at what stage were those particular dockets when they were received at the time. Suffice to say that when I scroll down on my WhatsApp, I saw a message that was written to me by Advocate Trish Maske.
When was it?
It was in 2018 in October, 25th October. She says to me, "Dear Advocate Jiba, thinking of you, let us know when we can take you for coffee, if it is allowed. I wanted to brief you, read the TRC matters. I have started with a schedule. I am very concerned that the NPA has failed dismally, Trish." So that is the last I had anything to do with these particular cases.
Thank you, Chair. That will conclude the evidence in chief of Ms. Jiba.
Thank you, Mr. Mukhari. Mr. Gwala, any clarificatory questions?
No, Chairperson, we don't have.
Thank you. Yes, any clarificatory questions?
Thank you, Chair, and I have no clarification.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Ranto, any clarificatory questions?
Nothing from the safety.
Yes. Mr. Vani, any clarificatory questions?
Yes, we do have a few, Chair. Advocate Juba, firstly, thank you for your cooperation with this commission, and especially making the effort to go to the NPA and to try to find the documentation that you have put up, which is very helpful for this inquiry. Can I first check with you your role in the NPA prior to becoming the deputy NDPP in 2010? I think it was 22nd December 2010. You mentioned that you have been with various units looking at serious economic cases. Am I right in saying that prior to becoming deputy NDPP and then subsequently acting NDPP, you played no role on the TRC cases?
Yes, I had nothing to do with the TRC cases before then, yes.
Okay. Because that period up until 2010 is a very key period, so I just wanted to clear that up with you.
Okay.
If we could then turn to page 3 of your statement, that's
Statement.
paginated page 10.
Okay.
And in paragraph 10, you indicate that as acting NDPP, you would receive reports from the PCLU through Dr. Ramaita, who was in control of the PCLU. Now, you have made reference to a memo that you responded to in April of 2013. Apart from that memo, do you recall receiving any written reports from Dr. Ramaita or anyone else from the PCLU on the TRC cases, either while you were acting NDPP or subsequently when you were head of the National Prosecution Service?
Yes, there were reports. This was not the only memo. Usually, as I said, when I started acting as NDPP, you start from somewhere, you know. There would have been reports or memorandums which have been compiled for Advocate Melanie, and then there would be memorandums that were compiled for me. So there were reports. This was not the only memo that was compiled to me. I just can't remember now, you know, specifically what they dealt with, but the one that I had, I remember of it is one I spoke about now, of the late Nokuthula Simelane. Yes.
Yes. But when you went to the NPA and you looked for reports that might have been addressed to you, these are the only ones you were able to find, the ones you've attached to your statement?
Yes. I was told that Mr. Mzakaifani said to me that he can't find any of the reports, and I directed him to a file that, you know, there used to be a file that had these memorandums, and he said he can't find it. So
yes, because there is correspondence from Dr. Ramaite addressed to Tembi Karameng, as she was known at that time, the sister of the late Nokuthula Simelane.
yes.
Which is actually before this commission. During 2013, in fact, in which he makes reference to the moratorium that had been placed on the investigation and prosecution of the TRC cases from around 2004. Were you ever aware of that correspondence?
No, I wasn't.
And did you ever get to hear of the moratorium or suspension on the investigation of the TRC cases in those days?
Not in my time, Mr. Vani. Not in my time.
Okay. And then if we can turn to page 6 of your statement, paginated page 12. So you have mentioned the Nokuthula Simelane case, and you indicated that you did take a look at it, because it is correct, and as you correctly pointed out to the Commission, we did meet in those days, and there was correspondence, and I can confirm that the attorneys for the Simelane family did request either a prosecution or an inquest. And in your evidence, you indicated that you instructed that a prosecution be pursued. Do you recall that in 2015, the Simelane family went to court, to the High Court, to seek an order to compel the NPA to make a decision in that case, either to prosecute or to refer to an inquest?
I don't have personal recollection of that. All I remember is that at a certain stage there was this a memorandum which was submitted to me requesting, proposing and recommending that there should be a formal inquest, which is what I then disagreed with. So I'm not familiar, I don't have a recollection about the family going to court and all of that, yes.
And do you recall approximately the year in which you considered that memorandum?
I was in the Legal Affairs Division then. That was before. I think it's when Sean was an NDPP. It's that stage when Sean was an NDPP, though.
Okay. And right, and I think he became NDPP. We're just checking, but I believe it was around 2014 or thereabouts. We'll confirm that shortly.
I think it was Mr. Ngasana in 2014.
2014. So
It was
then,
Mr. Ngasana.
so Mr. Abrams probably 2015.
Maybe took over after Mr. Ngasana, yes.
Yes. So it is the assertion of the families that the only reason why a decision was ultimately made in the Nokutela Simelane case was because they went to court. They filed papers seeking a decision, and it was then settled on the basis that the NPA would make a decision, and ultimately that decision was to prosecute certain former members of the security branch. And then that case was settled on that basis. Do you accept that?
I cannot deny that.
Yeah. And actually in that case, Timbi Nkarameng, now Timbi Simelane, she attached affidavits from former NDPP Visi Pakoli and former head of the PCLU, Anton Ackerman, and in those affidavits they alleged interference in the TRC cases. Do you have a recollection of that?
No, I don't. All I'm saying is that during my acting stint, I was never informed about political interference. If there was any political interference, probably it was then before my stint, or if it was there during my time, but nobody informed me about it, that they were having challenges with regard to political interference.
Yes. So as I understand what you're saying there was no political interference while you were acting NDPP.
Yes.
But do I understand you correctly are you saying that prior to you becoming acting NDPP, you would have no knowledge of that?
No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because I was not then involved with the TRC matters before my acting stint. The only time that I got exposure was when I was an acting National Director of Public Prosecutions through the memorandums that would then come to my office.
Right. But did you ever subsequently get to hear or read the affidavits that were attached to the Simelane application by Pakoli and Ackerman?
I only read them this time. Otherwise, I have never read them before. I only read them when the commission started. Otherwise, I've never read their affidavits.
I see.
Yes.
And do you have any reason to dispute what they're saying about interference in those affidavits?
No, not at all. I don't dispute what they say. All I'm saying is that during my stint, there was no political interference. At no stage did the minister or anybody at all tell me not to prosecute the TRC matters. So I cannot deny that before before my period that there was such political interference.
Yes.
I cannot deny that.
And to be clear, we're not suggesting or alleging that you were told not to.
Okay.
That's not what we're saying.
Okay, thank you.
If we can turn to your paragraph 18, that's on the same page, at the bottom of the page, and that's when you refer to the NOM or NAM
Yes.
meetings. And you then mention at the top of the next page that a resolution was taken because of the lack of progress, and that's when you asked for the list in relation to each case and a summary of the evidence. So that letter is dated the 22nd of October 2018. So would I be right in saying that the meetings you're referring to are probably earlier in October or perhaps September 2018?
Must have been, we had monthly meetings, so it could have been in September. We had monthly meetings.
And you mentioned that because of the lack of progress, are you able to elaborate on that lack of progress? So, for example, were any reasons put up for the lack of progress on the TRC cases?
Yes, some of the reasons were that they are unable to trace witnesses, if I can remember, and others were that they are short-staffed, that PCLU was short-staffed, and all of those kind of reasons. Which is why we then resolved that, okay, if you are having all of these challenges and the cases are not going anywhere, and you are unable to reach the witnesses are actually also getting old. So let us ask the directors of public prosecutions to then assist with the prosecution and investigation of those cases that fall within their jurisdictions. Yes.
Yes. Now, if I can ask you, for the period 2010 to 2018, so in 2010 you became the deputy NDPP, in 2011 the acting NDPP, and then subsequently you were the head of the Legal Assistance Division and then the National Prosecution Service. Do you recall during those years whether any TRC related case, aside from the Simalani case which we've dealt with, was ever put before you for a decision to prosecute?
As an NDPP, as an acting NDPP?
Either as deputy or acting, or subsequently at the NPS.
Okay. In my time as a acting NDPP, there was no case that was placed before me for decision. When I was in the Legal Affairs Division, no case would be brought to me for decision because that was not my portfolio. When I was then the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions for the NPS before the PCLU was
Dated 22nd October 2018. Dated 22nd October 2018. unfortunately, not long thereafter, in fact, it looks like only 3 days later, you were then placed on precautionary suspension. But you do mention in paragraph 20 that you tried to find this report. And you requested it from the NPA, but you were informed that the report could not be found. So this is yet another report that would be very helpful, but seems to be missing.
Yes.
So you asked the NPA directly for that report, and they said they couldn't find it.
Yes, I compiled a list of all the documents that I requested, and I think at the time I was also assisted by Tembekile. Actually, Tembekile was very helpful because she could see that I'm struggling to get the information that I require from the NPA. She then took it upon herself to make arrangements with the NPA that I actually go there and try and get the documents. And I think she arranged with Mr. Mzukaifani, and then I met Mzukaifani. We sat there, and he went through some documents that had nothing to do really with the TRC, but eventually she then said to me that she can't find these, she can't find the memorandums that I've requested. She also can't find this, the report. But later, I think after 2 days or 3 days, then she sent me this email, that is marked 19.1, as the only thing that they could find, but not the report itself.
Have you asked the commission, perhaps the secretary, if they could make a formal request for those documents?
I thought that Tembekile was then asked by the commission to assist, which is why I did not ask, because she was there to assist, and I believe that she did assist on behalf of the commission.
Okay. Oh, thanks. I've been advised that Tembekile is in fact an investigator with this commission.
Okay.
She's a researcher.
A researcher. Thank you, Chair. Can we now turn to your first annex, NJ1, at page 14?
Page 14.
And if I can direct your attention to the top right-hand page, right-hand side of the page, and you see there's handwriting.
I see that.
And we can decipher some of that handwriting. So, for example, it seems to be saying received 29/4.
Yes.
And then there's a signature, and then I think it says, it might say 29/7 or 1. Do you know whose signature that is?
I'm not so sure about, I cannot say whose signature that is.
And do you recognize the handwriting?
The handwriting seems to be that of Sean Abrams.
Sean Abrams, okay.
Yes.
And I'm going to read you what I think it says, and perhaps you can correct me if I get it wrong. Contact I/O, that's probably investigating officer.
Yes.
Polygraph affidavit.
Yes.
He is in Nelspruit. Will try and I think it says the docket.
Yes.
In next week.
Yes.
So do you know what is being said there, in particular in relation to the docket?
I cannot really say what is being said about the docket. I don't know, but what I could see is that they are talking about the polygraphy affidavit. Probably the polygraphy affidavit is in the docket, something to that effect, I don't know.
And then just looking at the letter that your personal assistant sent to Advocate Abrams.
Yes.
So there you seek information in relation to those who had received amnesty for the death of Mr. Ganiwe.
Yes.
And you make reference to the memo that unfortunately we can't find. So if we could just pause there and look at the response from Advocate Abrams at NJ2, that's page 16, and next page 17, because he then says the identities of persons who received amnesty for the death of Mr. Ganiwe. But he then writes, as indicated in paragraph 8 of Advocate McAdam's letter, the amnesty hearing did not relate to the death of Mr. Ganiwe and his associates. The amnesty hearing was in relation to the murder of 3 security branch members, namely Glenn Mgoduka, Desmond Mapipa, and Amos Faku, as well as a police informer, namely Charles Jack. Am I right in saying that matter actually relates to the Motherwell bombing just outside Port Elizabeth?
If you say so, I can't deny, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I do recognize, because I've just come from Quebec where I was doing the Craddock 4 inquest.
Okay.
And so I'm familiar with those names, and they are the deceased in the Motherwell bombing. And as you'll see from the next paragraph, Gideon Nieuwoud, a PE security branch member, was convicted for those murders and refused amnesty. And in delivering judgment, the court found that the 3 security branch members and the police informer had been murdered as they had key information in relation to the deaths of Mr. Ganiwe and his associates. And so we know that 3 of those deceased were part of the hit squad that murdered the Craddock 4.
Okay.
So does that help to pull those strings together?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, then let's stay with this letter, and then the next paragraph dealing with your request for information in relation to those who had received amnesty or been denied amnesty for the murders of the Craddock 4, and which ones were still alive. And you'll note at 234 to 236, Advocate Abrams mentions the ones that's still alive. So that's Eric Taylor of the PE security branch. He was alive at that time. We know that he died in November of 2016. And then Gerard Lotz, he died in March 2016. And then Herman Duplessis, he died, I believe, in April 2023. So there were a few suspects in the Craddock 4 case who in 2013 were still alive and could have been potentially investigated further and prosecuted.
Yes.
Do you know why they weren't?
I wouldn't know why they were not prosecuted. I wouldn't know.
You said in your evidence in chief, I think you said you left it in the hands of Dr. Ramaita to take forward. But I assume that you made the inquiry on the Craddock 4 matter potentially to see whether there was any prospect of resolving that case and bringing to justice suspects who might still be alive. Would that be correct?
Probably there would have been many reasons why I was making was seeking clarification, clarity on the memorandum that was written. You know, usually you request a clarity when you want something clarified. And of course, once something is clarified, obviously, as an NDPP, I'm not there to direct what they should do. Otherwise, I'm going to be usurping the functions of the Deputy National Director concerned. You know, so to answer your question, essentially, you know, I might have requested the information, what I sought from them there, because maybe on the memorandum, unfortunately, we speak about the memorandum just not before us. Maybe on the memorandum, things were not so clear, essentially. And once things were cleared, I was satisfied.
But
I give you an example. Sorry
Sure.
to interrupt. I'll give you an example. For example, sometimes you're able to seek clarity. I'll talk about asset forfeiture unit for a bit, which was led by Mr. Hofmeyer. Sometimes you seek clarity on something, and because you've sought clarity on that thing, then the Deputy National Director in charge of that unit then attends to it. And with regard to PCLU matters, I do recall that Sean got a little bit irritated because they were reporting directly to him, and he did not have an opportunity as an NDPP at the time to interrogate what is actually happening. Now, placing them under the control of a NDPP who must then get involved in the actual nitty-gritties. So when I then brief Sean, then Sean will be satisfied that something is then being attended to. So as a head of the institution, sometimes you just seek clarity, but then it is for the DNDPP or even the special director of that particular unit to ensure that those things that you have now brought to his or her attention, he then goes and attends to.
So you made the assumption that those at the PCLU, seeing that there were certain suspects still alive, that they would then take it forward.
They had to take it forward because they knew. Remember, they had all the cases in their hands. You know, nobody else had those cases. They had all those cases in their hands. So they had to follow up on whatever needed to be followed up on their own. Yes. There's no NDPP, Mr. Vane, that really directs what you should do with the case. If you do that, we are working on a thin line, because remember, an NDPP has got powers of review, reviewing the decisions that are made by the special directors and the DPPs. Now, if you start directing an investigation, assuming I would have said, okay, I see your memo, but go and do this, go and do this, go and do this. I can't do that. That's operational.
Okay, so you didn't want to step on their toes. They had the authority to take this forward.
Yes.
But then there seems to be a hiatus of about 5 odd years. Because, and I'm now referring to your letter of 22nd October 2018 at page 19.1. So you've already put this into the record. It's a letter that your personal assistant addressed to Dr. Pretorius at the PCLU. You point out that the delay in these matters is unacceptable. Suspects are getting old, witnesses are getting old, victims must not be getting justice at all. So here one gets the impression that you are swinging into action and demanding that, that something be done. You give a deadline when this report has to be submitted. Do you have a sense of what took place in the preceding 5 years?
Unfortunately, I cannot, because then I left the NPA.
No, I'm talking about the preceding 5 years. So,
Before 2018,
yes, so between 2013 and 2018.
do I have a sense of what?
Of what happened on the TRC cases in the intervening 5 years?
I cannot really say what really happened, except that the really only case that I remember is the one that I've referred to of Nokutula
Nokutula
Simone.
Simone,
Yes.
okay. If we can go back to the letter that Abrams sent to you
Yes.
on the 22nd of May 2013
Yes.
in relation to the credit formatter, and it's paragraph 2.4. It's titled Issues Relating to the Polygraph Expert. And it appears that you've been given advice by Advocate Abrams not to pursue that investigation further, the investigation into the false accusations made against General Hankel. And if I can draw your attention to the second last paragraph, such an investigation would not only unduly delay the decision on the Geneva matter, but may potentially place all the unsatisfactory issues relating to crime intelligence into the public domain. What were those unsatisfactory issues?
If I had the memo that they submitted before, I would be able to answer you. Sitting here, it's difficult to me what were the unsatisfactory issues that were contained in the memorandum that we had. That is precisely why I wanted to get the memorandum, because then if you are able to read the memorandum, the response from Advocate Abrams and the memorandum, then one would be able to give an answer. So I can't sitting here remember what were those unsatisfactory issues.
Okay,
Point by point, yes.
thank you. So on the 22nd of October 2018, as mentioned in your letter that your PA wrote to Turi Pretorius, and you raised concern about the delay, given that the Truth Commission had wound up its work in the late 1990s and the Amnesty Committee finished up in 2022, and the final report was then handed over to the President, not 2022, sorry, 2002, in 2003. Do you have a sense as to why there's been such a long delay that ultimately causes you to send this instruction to the PCLU? Because we're now talking of a delay that was nearly 20 years.
Look, my report, the resolution that we took in NOM, really it came from the fact that we were all concerned that we are not getting progress with regard to these cases, whatever the reasons that we are given are, be it the shortage of prosecutors in the PCLU, investigators. But what was of concern to us at that time is that we are now sitting in 2018. We cannot report on any successful prosecution that we have made. That was a serious concern for us, yes.
And then lastly, Advocate Chiba, you mentioned that you're taking a look at your WhatsApp from the 25th of October 2018, and there was a message from former Special Director Advocate Trish Matske, in which he indicated that in respect of the TRC cases, the NPA has failed dismally. Did you explain why the NPA had so failed? Were you ever able to have that coffee with her to hear from her?
No, we couldn't have coffee. Then I was busy with the inquiry
Right.
at the time. So we never got to get a chance. But I'm assuming, I'm now speculating that she said this because of the reports that I had requested that they must be submitted to her. He probably have read the reports, and then she made her own decisions based on the information that she read from the report, and hence she came to this conclusion. As I say, I never got the opportunity to read the reports.
Thank you. Yeah. Commissioners, it certainly might be an idea for the Commission staff to approach Special Director Trish Matske. We would make that request. Advocate Chiba, thanks again for your time and your willingness to support this Commission.
Thank you.
No further questions.
Mr. Semenya?
Thank you, Chair. And we take note of the request. We will follow it up by Mr. Vani. Ma'am Jiba, is it afternoon now? Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, SC.
The standard operating procedures, and might I restrict myself to say exchange of dockets by one office to the other. As I understand you, there would be notebooks with different colors for each office. I understood you correctly, right?
Not necessarily for handling dockets. Ne? It was just a practice in relation to formal documents that would then include a dockets in this case. If a docket is going to be sent to any office, then there has to be something that is signed, at least to acknowledge the receipt of that.
And everybody understood that is how matters work in the NPA, am I right?
I thought so, yes.
And if the protocol was observed, it would mean that at least at 2 points, there would be entries and signatures showing the requester and somebody who then receives, am I right?
That should be correct.
So in the event of a missing docket, one would expect at least one of the documents would have entries in relation to the status of that document or docket.
Yes, I assume.
If you gave us direction, how would we have to get our hands on those colored files or documents or notebooks?
You would have to find them in the NPA. I know for a fact that I left mine there, and I was informed that they actually did a thorough search from my former office, and they could not find the docket.
And if you were to take or make an opinion, what can explain something like that?
I don't know, as I sit here, what can, how you can explain something like that. I really do not know. It's similar to the memorandums that we can no longer find now that we are looking for.
I'm trying to understand that even on your description, that is odd. It's inconsistent with your experience when you're still in the office.
Can
Correct.
you repeat that? I'm not following.
I'm saying even using a language like odd, this missing documents,
Docket.
missing dockets, does not accord with your experience whilst you were at the NPA.
It doesn't at all.
Now, let me ask another thing. I just heard you say you don't have your own notebook, right? Because officially you would have had to leave it with the NPA, right?
I left it with the NPA. It's not like I would have had to leave it with the NPA. I left it with the NPA.
Well, I'm trying to understand whether by discretion or by standard operating systems.
It's not by discretion. You have to leave documents belonging to the NPA. They belong to the NPA. You got them in your official capacity, so they remain the property of the institution.
So it would be out of kilt for somebody like Advocate McAdam to be having official documents of the NPA, correct?
Out of what?
Out of kilt. It would be improper for him to have documents that are official, that are NPA documents with himself as a retiree.
You would have documents, for example, in your email, because documents sometimes were sent by email. I wouldn't say it would be out of kill. Some people live with things, but as far as I know, the point is that property of the NPA belongs to the NPA.
Because in one of the consultations with the evidence leaders, he had a box full of documents belonging to the NPA. That would be fine. That would be strange, right?
It is for me, because I have none.
And he refuses to hand over those documents. Let's not go to what powers the commission has to subpoena those, but it would be odd for him to be still having them as a retiree. Am I right?
Yes, it sounds odd. It does sound odd for me.
Okay. Now, from 2003 to now, by all accounts, the progress on what are priority crimes, these TRCs, the progress made is poor. Would you accord yourself with my assessment?
I agree.
And there doesn't seem to be any rational explanation why the progress on these priority crimes were never followed with vigor. Or do you have an explanation for that?
I do not have an explanation for that, really, except for what I've read, Advocate Semenya, in the Galata affidavit. But as I say, I hear what is being said in the Galata, and I'm not denying that. But all I know is that we, as NPA officials, I count myself as there at the time, we take an oath to prosecute without fear, favor, and prejudice. That's the oath that we take, and it has consequences. One of the consequences that you might just lose your job. So probably at that stage, people could not live by that oath because of fearing to lose their job.
Well, there seems, according to the evidence, to have been another noise in the background, i.e., one group of freedom fighters seeking a particular process, and one group of security forces belonging to the apartheid past who wanted something different. Were you aware of those noises?
No, I wasn't.
Did you know or get to be speaking to a Mr. Wagner? He was an attorney, apparently.
Mr. Wagner.
No.
No, I don't remember, Mr. Wagner.
Okay. And what's your
Unless-
best advice about us getting this missing list?
Of what? Which missing list, council, senior council?
To one which the report was to include. Remember, we have no report that was requested from the PCLU.
The one that was requested by my PA, you mean that one?
Correct, yes.
I suppose maybe you can try Advocate Trish Maske. Although she has retired from the NPA, I assume you can still try her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chair, that will be all we have for the witness.
Thank you. Ms. Jiba, we thank you for having us. Oh, sorry, before I do that, Mr. Mokari, any re-examination in the light of the clarifications that were posed to Ms. Jiba?
No, thank you, Chair. There is none.
Thank you. Ms. Jiba, we thank you for having availed yourself to give evidence before this commission. At this stage, you are excused as a witness. You may be recalled to be cross-examined in the event an application for your cross-examination is made, but you are for now excused as a witness.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Chair, that is all we have for the formal hearings for the day.
Advocate Semenya, are we reconvening on the 7th?
Of the 7th,
Yes.
yes, Chair.
These proceedings are adjourned until the 7th of April 2026 at 10 hours. We are adjourned.